Okay, this video is going to show kind of a refresher on placing parts in an assembly. I'm also going to show you the insert constraint as well as how you can do a little bit of editing to parts via an assembly mode. So, for example here, my insert constraint is right here, and what the insert constraint does is it allows me to choose circles and cylinders and insert them. But one thing I was going to show also in this video is if you notice this black part it's rather difficult to see the edges assigned with that part. I just know where things are, so I know that that was the constraint that I needed. But one thing I was going to show you was that if I double click on a part in an assembly, it allows me to edit that part. What just happened there was I already had the miniature train wheel open, so it simply took me to that part. So what I might do just to make things a little bit easier is instead of having this as black, change it to a different color and save it. Not open, and save it, and go back to my assembly, so that way as I am building those constraints, it's a little bit easier to see those edges, and then I can just go in and change it back to being black. But to do the insert constraint, I am simply choosing insert, and I'm selecting the edges that I want to insert with each other. So for example here, these wheels, I want the hole for the axle peg to touch where the hole for the axle peg is going to go on my train body. I was additionally putting an offset of 0.01, which pulls that away from the train body just ever so slightly, because if I was really building this, if that wheel was right up against the train body, there'd be too much friction. And the nice thing about the insert constraint is it leaves that degree of freedom for these wheels to spin. I've already done this left side to have my wheels, my axle pegs, my linkage arm, and things like that. And you'll notice that because that linkage arm is constrained to both of those wheels, as I spin one, it's going to spin the other. So I'm going to rather quickly constrain these other parts that I've already placed to my wheels and show you that. So for example, constrain, insert, I want this hole to touch that, apply it. I want this edge, and this one's going to be a little bit more challenging to find, to touch that edge, apply, and again, as soon as I do that, those now spin together. Alright, I want move these all a little closer to my assembly. I want that edge to touch that edge, apply. This edge to touch this edge, apply. And again, that just allows all of those to work together. There's that little hiccup every once in a while where, like that, it'll get a little off, but that's alright. Okay? I can go back to my wheel, go back to changing it to black, resaving it, and that change is reflected in my assembly. Okay? So, that shows you the insert constraint. I use the insert constraint on my smokestack to the train body. I also use the insert constraint for my hitch magnet and hitch peg to the back of the train body as well. Okay? This is a little refresher on the place command. I come up to my ribbon under the Assemble tab, I should see Place. If it says Place from Content Center or Place from any of these other options, click the down arrow. I simply want Place. Now I'm going to place my cow catcher. Now, again, when I double-clicked on the wheel to edit the wheel, it opened up the IPT that I already had open. I'll show you this with the train body as I double-clicked on the cow catcher, and notice how everything else went transparent. Because this wasn't open, it allows me to edit it kind of in this view already. So I'm going to do the same thing where I change it to a color I can see a little bit better. I'm going to save it. I'm going to say Finish Edit, and that's going to allow me to do my, again, insert constraints. For my cow catcher. Now, the cow catcher I do not want to spin. So what I have to do is I do have to place 2 of those insert constraints to get that to work. And right there, when you place that second insert constraint, you have an error message pop up. That error message pops up because either the pegs on the back of the cow catcher or the holes on the front of the train body, they don't align correctly. So you'll need to double check those dimensions if you're getting that error message. Okay? But that shows you how to, place a component again. It shows you the insert constraint. It also shows you how you can, edit parts inside of the assembly file type, or jumping back to the IPT and changing the assembly as well. Or not assembly, but the part. And I can do a lot more than just, the color of the part. I can change the geometry. I can make corrections to sizes and things like that. So that shows you the start of the assembly. There's one additional thing I'm going to do here to get these wheels and those wheels to spin simultaneously. And how I'm going to do that is, again, go back to my wheel. I'm going to look at my origin planes, and I need the plane that cuts through the center of my wheel as well as the center of this peg. I'm going to turn that on, turn the visibility of it on, and all I'm going to do here is a mate constraint of the 2 front work planes, or a flush constraint, it doesn't matter, and I'm going to apply it. And what that does is that means as this spins, the other side has to spin as well. Okay, and as soon as I do that, I can go back and turn that visibility back off, save it again, and my assembly is 100% done. So again, shows you how to edit the IPTs inside of the assembly, shows you the insert constraint. It also shows you how I can get these wheels to communicate with the other side. And that's the 100% the assembly for the miniature train.